You are listening to PeakOneSports.
Oh, look, just in time. Chris jumping on. I didn't even notice you came in, man. What's going on, Chris?
I cannot hear you guys, man.
We can hear you, so
you hear me?
We can.
Yeah,
Roger, Chris.
1 second. Let me get out of here and get back in.
I can hear you
I
now.
miss you guys, man. Hold on.
Man. Well, while Chris is figuring that out, let's go ahead and jump into what we're going to be talking about today as Chris gets his technical difficulties figured out. We are the sports page. I know Dan's usually running this show. He has conflicting schedules now, so as he figures out what he's going to do about that, I'm going to jump in and fill in for Dan. We got Ross from the Roscoe Fantasy Football Show joining us. Where you at, Ross?
Well, tonight I'm a little closer to home. I ended up at Bombshells over in Grand Prairie, and they were kind enough to let me enjoy the patio to myself. So I feel pretty VIP, but it's just such a beautiful night out, man. And so I was like, I'm going to get out and sit outside.
That's cool. I always like watching people watching on your show. Of course, I love listening to your fantasy football insight, but it's fun looking at the people. They're kind of glancing at the camera, maybe not knowing exactly what's happening, but they're just kind of staring. And then there's some people that just full on stare. And it's like, I wonder what I guess they don't realize they're live. They don't care. But it's always pretty fun. But of course, we don't have that distraction tonight.
Well, it's not far away. I am sitting directly next to the window at the front desk, and about half of the staff is standing up there wondering what I'm doing. But, we'll see if anyone comes over with anything, maybe I'll get a little snack or something.
Yeah, if anybody is listening, we'll go ahead and throw this out there. I'll go ahead and do the intro. If anybody's listening, however, whether live on our YouTube page, live on our Facebook page, you may be listening later on whatever podcast platform you listen on. We're on all of them. Or tonight, for the first night for the sports page, we did it last week with the lead off. We are live on the Coach's Box YouTube channel as well. But if anybody is listening, they're a manager, owner of restaurants, let us know. We can, Ross doesn't mind jumping out there. I
love showing up. It's the coolest, man. You get to get into the, the different places and kind of, meet people and find out kind of the culture, and then getting to tell people about it is my favorite part. And so, if you're watching, make sure you comment. Let us know where you're watching from. We like getting involved in the chat. I'm going to be doing the chat tonight. So, real excited to be here. It looks like we might have somebody coming back here.
All right, Chris. Can you hear us now?
Hey!
Can you hear me? Am I good?
Oh, yeah.
We can hear you, man.
Hey, there we go.
Chris, is that a Booby Miles jersey?
It's a Booby Miles jersey, man.
Woo! I love it, dude.
Friday night,
love it.
I was inspired, yeah. So,
Where did you get that?
eBay. It's a
eBay.
I've had this for a long time. It's actually really small on me, but
did you go looking for a Booby Miles jersey, or were you just scrolling?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, you went looking.
So I've had this probably for like probably 3 years maybe. And I love the movie, and I love because I used to collect jerseys like back in the day, and I'm really mad at myself that I didn't keep any of them. But I was like, I need a Booby Miles jersey. I had a Will Smith jersey when he was playing basketball in Fresh Prince, so I had to get one of those. Yeah, so yeah, it was.
There's a store. I'm sure lots of malls have these stores. I don't remember the name of it, but it's a sporting goods store in the mall, and they had a lot of. Not that Booby Miles is obviously not fictional, but he's a movie character. Yeah. But they had like fictional sports jerseys. They had like Forrest Gump, Bobby Boucher. They had the Charlie Conway from the Mighty Ducks movies. So that's the first thing I thought when I saw that too.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things. Yeah, that's a Forrest Gump. That's a great idea. I might have to get that one.
Yeah, the Forrest Gump
Alabama
Alabama jersey would be a winner, bro.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
I like the Bobby Boucher because it's a fake team too, so you know exactly what it is. Like Forrest Gump, I know it says Gump on the back, but it's an Alabama jersey. But yeah, every time I go, I come very close to buying the Bobby Boucher Adam Sandler jersey.
Yeah,
I saw. I don't know if you ever watched the show, but it's really old. But it's called Married with Children.
Yeah,
Al Bundy was the dad, and apparently he had a jersey too. You know, and he was like a fullback or something. And some place like you're talking about, Ashton, sold that.
Polk High. Yeah, I said. Oh yeah, I think it was at that place too. He was at Polk High School. He always talked about it. Oh yeah, wow. Tony. What's going on?
What's going on, man?
The leadoff.
Shout out Tony, man. He's always showing love on Facebook for me, man. I appreciate him a lot.
Yeah. Dan's going to be a little upset. I hope he's watching, but he's going to be a little upset that this is the first time Chris is back on. We got a full house.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
we got a full house.
It's been a long time. I was like, it has to be at least like 2 months probably, because I've been back and then, the season's just been going, just every day. And, every Wednesday we have like, JV, or we have, like freshman games. So, but I'm just glad to see you guys. Good to see you.
Dude, it's been fun. Shout out to Kenny as well. Kenny Mays. He's the host of the Shut the Puck Up Hockey podcast here. He jumps on this show all the time. I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say, but he's dealing with some stuff, and I don't know if he'll be listening tonight. We're possibly going to have him on, but he's going through some things. So shout out Kenny. Get well soon.
Kenny, man. Yes.
Before we jump in here, because I know you are itching to talk Cowboys, we got to though. First, don't bet with your gut. Check out Betalytics and get help making your picks using their AI algorithms. Use promo code PEAK1 for 25% off when you sign up today. Go to Betalytics.com to start betting smarter. All right. We got the Cowboys coming off the bye week. It was kind of nice to be able to just rant a little bit. If you go back and listen to the leadoff last Saturday, me and Tony really ranted. We didn't have to preview a game. We didn't have to. They were on the bye week. We truly got to just hate on the Cowboys, which was kind of beautiful.
It's the cool new thing, man. It's the cool new thing.
It was therapeutic to get some of that out there. Now because now it's just kind of comical. It's you kind of hate it. It's like you almost cheer against them because you don't want Jerry Jones in the front office to be right, because it's full on. It's not even hate for the Cowboys as much from Cowboys fans. It's all being diluted to or diverted to Jerry Jones. A lot of crap, but they're coming off a bye week, a terrible performance against Detroit. They're facing the 49ers in Sunday Night Football this week. Although San Francisco is not looking all that good. This year, they're 3-4. Of course, a lot of injuries. Christian McCaffrey on IR. George Kittle is questionable. Brandon Ayuk out for a while with his knee injury. Deebo Samuel questionable with an illness. In fact, Chris, I think you'll find this hilarious with your wide receiver background. The 49ers' healthiest wide receiver right now is rookie Pearsall, who was shot in the chest 2 months ago.
Wow, man. Jeez. That's unbelievable to think about it like that.
So we have a chance.
He has. No, I'm not saying they have a chance. Even Brock Purdy hasn't looked good, but when all your receivers are out, how good can you look? 9 touchdowns, 7 interception ratio through 7 games. I guess that's the most positive thing you can think of, Chris, is we have a chance, right?
Yeah. Man, it's been a rough year. And in 3-3, like, I feel like this is the worst. I feel like 3-3. It just feels like we're like 0-6. Like
it does.
It feels like we have a losing record. In reality, we have a better record than the 49ers technically on paper. But it's like, man, like it's just like I don't even want to watch them almost. But I'm gonna watch, obviously. And this is probably I don't want to say luckily, thankfully, they have injuries, but this will probably be the hardest stretch of any team in the league right now. 49ers, and you got the other 3 teams that you're about to go against. So I hope it's tough, man.
I'll bring that up in a minute on their next few games. This is actually probably their easiest game for a while.
The easiest one,
Yeah. Well, and they're getting Tyler Guyton back too. I think he practiced all the way up until like before the week 6 game, and then he wasn't quite 100%. So they went ahead and held him out, and then he had the rest of the bye week to get better again. And so now it's pretty much confirmed he's gonna go and be on the field against San Francisco. So
that's big.
Yeah, man. And Mike McCarthy, he's given him the green light and said, it was a setback, but he's ready to go. He'll be a full participant in practice. I look for him to jump back in there. So I'm excited about Tyler Guyton. I was, when some of those Cowboys picks in the draft that have been offensive linemen, we've made some really good hits. And then, the majority of them aren't. But I really like the Tyler Guyton pick, and I'm glad he's going to be back there kind of trying to help out Dak.
I think sorry, Rossi. I think they've been to your point. They've been so good at picking those offensive linemen that Tyler Guyton struggled some this year. That we kind of expected him to come out and just be dominant, and he's been pretty good. I mean, for rookie, he's been really good. He has those rookie struggles, holding penalties. It's going to happen, but I think you just get on a streak of landing on these first round offensive linemen that you're kind of like it's a miss just because he struggled a little bit. But no, I mean anything to help out this offensive line, right?
Oh yeah.
A couple of more injury news for the Cowboys. Micah Parsons is questionable. I expect he's going to play.
Yeah.
This I don't.
You don't.
No, I mean, no. I think that they're looking. I think the Cowboys are looking at this game at San Francisco as like the perfect opportunity for a revenge game. And I think that they feel like they're not going to have to play as hard to win this one as they would have, obviously, in previous years that they've lost. I expect Micah to be out this week, but that's just a personal thing. More of a game management, like. DeMarion Overshone is kind of doing pretty good. I know he just came out and said that, the Cowboys are not going to be using injuries as an excuse, to not get better. And so they're really looking for DeMarion to step up. And I think this is a great opportunity, for Micah to go ahead and sit one more week just to make sure he's 100%, give DeMarion Overshone a chance to shine, and most likely get a win. I think anybody could be scared of for the 49ers, and especially the way Greg Kittle plays against the Cowboys.
Everyone, all of them.
Yeah, but they're all gone, and so I'm like, okay, that's so, true. Let's double team Kittle the best we can, and then shut down the run game,
Yeah.
I mean, I think
that's what I think. Yeah. I think we should man coverage, I know our secondary, the defense has struggled a little bit, but man coverage, put the pressure on Brock Purdy, make him make a throw, and then the offense just has to go and score. They have to go score the ball, and that's just really, honestly, like in reality, on paper, we should win the game. I think it's just the looming. I can't remember the last time we beat the 49ers, and so it's kind of like a looming thing, like, oh, they have our number regardless of who's on the field. So. But yeah, man, I hope, because we beat a good Steelers team. I feel like, so there's highs and there's lows. I know Mike is out, or he could possibly play, but I feel a little optimistic. Maybe that's just me being a homer, me being a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, the offense definitely has to get going. I mean, you can say what you want about the defense and injuries, but you put DeMarcus Lawrence, Deron Bland, and Micah Parsons back in that game, and I don't think, I mean, it was it 46-9? You put those three guys back, and the defense goes from 46 points to less than 9. No, it doesn't matter. I mean, sure, it's an excuse, it's a reason, but it doesn't matter if you can't score more than 9 points. If you can't score a touchdown, and you have, it doesn't matter what your defense does. Dak and CD on the same page.
And also throwing it out there.
I can't figure that out.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I was just going to throw it out there. That game that they got 9 points, right? Now they're talking like Brandon Aubrey. I mean, he's still not practicing. So, like.
Well, he missed practice for
jury duty, right?
Jury duty, yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I never heard that. It's ridiculous.
I saw the missed practice. I was like,
what if it goes to trial?
Jury
I
duty.
mean, I guess he'd be fine for Sunday. I don't know when the Cowboys play on Monday night. I guess he can still make it, but
I guess. Okay, so you guys are right. It was a jury duty thing. What I read was that his status for Thursday and Friday is unclear, and so obviously that's because I guess he's still doing jury duty. But one of those things, like, oh, hey Ronald, what's up, dude? Checking us out from Midlothian. Good to have you.
Yeah.
Let us know in the chat, by the way, Ronald. Do you think the Cowboys are going to win against the 49ers, or is it going to be another week of Cowboys woes? Let us know.
I think it's going to be an ugly game.
An ugly 17-13 win or something like. It's going to be like something like that, I feel.
Yeah, I have the game 21-16 in favor of San Francisco. I do think it's going to be. I mean, this is what the Cowboys do against San Francisco, right? They play up to them or down to them. They lose. When you look back on it, it looks like, well, just one play could have changed the game. I have it strategically that 16 points because it's one touchdown the Cowboys score, and Aubrey kicks 3 field goals.
3 field goals. If he plays, if he's still on jury duty.
I would think Sunday he'd be fine. Where is that? I mean, either way, it's in San Francisco or in Dallas. I may need to look that up. That game.
I think it's in San Fran.
No, it's in Levi. Yeah, they're playing in Levi.
I guess you could get out of jury duty, get him on Jerry's private plane on the red eye to San Francisco by Friday night, Saturday morning.
Yeah. Have we? I'm trying to think of the last time we played. Like probably other than the playoff game, like we always play in San Fran. We never get a home game with them. So I feel like we played them last year there, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I thought we just played them in Levi a couple of years ago. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think Ronald makes a good point, though, man. It's going to be tough for both of them. So I think you guys are right. Like it's because of the injuries. I think Chris, said it first. Like,
game,
yeah,
it's going to be an ugly game. I think the worst thing that could happen for the Cowboys, the worst thing, is if Purdy can't play for some reason, because you know how the Cowboys always do against backup quarterbacks that they're not used to facing. And
Colt McCoy.
Colt McCoy. That was a bittersweet moment because I'm a Longhorns fan.
And that's I was about to say that's my guy. Yeah, he's probably one of my favorite college players ever. So
Matt Flynn back in the day when the Cowboys were up like 3 touchdowns. Matt Flynn comes in for was it Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre? I think it was Aaron Rodgers. And yeah. Man, when's the last time I thought about, we're talking about when we can get a kicker to the game on time because he's like the main focal point.
Definitely.
Yeah.
They might get
like
shut
the most
out
important.
and Aubrey can't make this game.
He's like the most important part of the roster, even though you're paying Dak, Like,
yeah, we talked about it on the leadoff. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but Brandon Aubrey has nearly half the points scored for the Cowboys this season.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. That's nuts.
And Chris,
he's got more points. They were talking, and I saw a thing too. It's like he's got more points than basically anybody besides CeeDee Lamb because the touchdown
to break the points record for a season. I think he's on pace to obliterate it. Actually,
I'm just happy he's on my fantasy roster in a few leagues.
Yeah,
I didn't even get him, man. I'm Justin Tucker, but.
Yeah,
that was good too.
This year,
this
year. I think Brandon Aubrey might start being the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Only because the Cowboys have a good enough offense to always be in his range, which is like 70 yards. Almost.
Behind the logo, I've never seen that before, man. That is, hey.
Chris, you brought it up a minute ago. After this week, you're playing Atlanta, who's hit and miss. You never know what you're going to get with them. Philadelphia, luckily at home, the Cowboys play the Eagles pretty well at home.
Yeah.
Mike has got to be back for that. I don't think there's any way he's not. If he has anything to say about it, they play Houston, who has looked this year, but still a tough team. And then Washington.
Yeah.
Which, luckily after that it'll be Thanksgiving. You get to beat up on the Giants at home. Although you're 0-3 at home this year with 2 really bad blowouts.
Terrible.
That's 3-0.
Like it's just polar opposite.
Ross putting in that shameless plug for his show.
I was an accident. I was totally an accident.
You're good. No,
you want to know what it was? Really? I was trying to get the W thing up, and
And hey, that's a good transition because that's exactly where I'm going next. But yeah, real quick, I think they'll do good at home. But 0-3 3-0 on the road. Funny enough, 0-3 at home.
Polar opposite.
You're really eager there, Ross. Go ahead, pull up that W. And
well, it's just because I like W so much, man.
You were drinking that W and you got all energetic to.
Yeah, no, dude. Well, if you're seeking a superior energy drink to replace those inferior caffeinated beverages, W contains 0 maltodextrin, 0 artificial colors or dyes, and 0 proprietary blends. The coffee fruit extract is the star of this delicious drink, helping you to energize without the jitters to crash. That's probably my favorite part. My second favorite part is that if you order W using code PEAK1, you'll get 10% off your purchase.
Very, very well done.
Thank you, Ashton. I practiced all day, actually.
You did not.
Okay, you're right. I did.
Yeah. I hear you do that on a weekly basis. You do a good job.
It's getting natural, man. But
okay, dumb sports take. Dallas Cowboys, LOL. Yeah, I mean, that's
laughable.
It's simple.
Hey, real quick,
That's perfect, actually.
I guess before we move on from the Cowboys, I just want to talk about one thing real fast. Have you guys noticed how it's like, I don't want to say going viral, but like it's getting to be the cool thing to hate on the Cowboys because of the Jerry Jones, freak out, and now, everybody's kind of got that backlash. They got Sean Sharif kicked off the air for a few days. I don't know if he's back yet. I was listening to the ticket today, but
he had he wasn't kicked off. He had a vasectomy. He was out for a couple of days.
Oh, is that right?
Supposedly, conspiracy theory.
I think what I've been hearing was that I didn't even know it was a real medical procedure. I thought it was like they were making a joke about that Jerry Jones gave him that vasectomy, so that was I misheard that, but dude, I've seen nothing. I've seen nothing but hate on Jerry Jones and the Cowboys since he freaked out on Sean, and now it's almost like we're gonna have a revolt, man. It's like Cowboys fans are gonna storm the AT&T Stadium and try to overthrow Jerry. Yeah. What do you guys think about all that?
The thing about Jerry is as much as he call him a bad GM, bad owner, whatever, he's a very personable guy, and he likes to be on the interview like no other owner in the NFL does weekly interviews. He actually does 2 a week on that show, and he's funny, charismatic, jokes around. Normally when you say, oh man, this what's wrong with the Cowboys, he kind of plays into it a little bit, so that's why it's kind of like, okay, it is what it is, there's nothing we can do, he owns the team. But now all of a sudden he's getting these hard questions, which typically he gets hard questions and he's fine with it, but all of a sudden he just like, no, if you don't, saying, if basically having a power trip and saying, if you don't ask questions like you should, I'm going to get somebody who will type,
And I listen to them often, and he's never dgot that. Like,
he's usually very fun to listen to.
Yeah, he's gotten upset with them before. Been like a little snappy or whatever, but he's never been like, I'll just get somebody else.
Quick on his feet, But yeah, that's it. Just kind of that's why it's such a big deal. Is everybody, even you, as much as Stephen A. Smith rags on the Cowboys, he'll be the first one to say he loves Jerry. Jerry's a good friend. He's ridden on his helicopter or whatever, but it's just everybody for good reason. It was kind of it wasn't very divisive. Everybody was against Jerry Jones and what happened.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough stretch, and the thing is, there's 3-3 still, but it's almost like you don't really see. It's almost like the window is kind of closed. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say that window is closed, but I feel like their chances of winning the Super Bowl, like last year probably was their best chance. The year before last was a good chance, and now it's kind of like I don't really see them beating, the top teams in the NFC.
Usually their performance doesn't match the expectations, because usually we're down on them, they have a good season. We get up on them, they disappoint us, and they're just back and forth. But after the loss in the playoffs last year, the all-in comment, the lack of off-season moves, we're all calling for it. Like, what are you doing? And then we're just
Not getting Derrick Henry.
not getting Derrick Henry, everything getting nullified into, or just really backing up our idea of like, yeah, you blew out the Browns, but it was a pretty ugly game, and the Browns we thought the Browns might be decent this year, but they're terrible. And it's just kind of like everything we said was correct. He can say to Sean Sharif, well, if you know what you're doing, you're smarter than all the other GMs because we can't fit, none of us are claiming to be good GMs, but we called this. We said Ezekiel Elliott's not going to work as your, one of your 3 backup running backs. This offense isn't going to work. This defense, you need, everything we said is coming to fruition. Not that we're smart. It doesn't take us to be smart or intelligent or even know football to look at this and say, you succeeded last year. We saw what went well, but now that that's not working, you don't have the best receiver in the league because Dak and CD are kind of, for whatever's wrong. I don't know. It's just something they need to figure out. They're just not on the same page. It's like, we called this, man. And you kept telling, don't worry, we got it, whatever. And no, we are worried. Now, to Chris's point, this has got to be the most angered 3-3 fan base in a long time. I can't remember the last time the Cowboys were 3-3 and we were just ready to kick, you normally were like, oh man, this team sucks, mediocre again, but it's way worse than that now.
It feels a little different. Yeah, it feels a little different.
I also feel like the Cowboys fan base is very critical. So it's like any loss that the Cowboys take, the fan base is like, well, that's it. That's the year. It's over. We suck.
When you get blown out in 3 games.
Yeah.
I don't care what Gary says about the Ravens. You got blown out and they just stopped playing defense. But
yeah. It's like the way we lose. Like we're taking like college score losses. Like it's
your last
really
4 home games, going back to that Packers playoff game, you had at some point were trailing
about 28, about 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm thinking over 20. It's got to be over 20 points.
Yeah, I think it's 4
but
touchdowns.
For sure, double digits.
Yeah.
And then you come back against the Ravens. Who cares? I'm glad that didn't happen. I was praying like, don't come back and lose by 6 points or something, just so Jerry can, Okay, from one disgruntled franchise that holds high expectations to 2 less disgruntled franchises that hold a lot of high expectations. We have the World Series. And go ahead. Most of America is going to barf at this, but Game 1 Friday, Dodgers Stadium, Yankees versus Dodgers. MLB got what they wanted. Real quick. Yeah. Dodgers related, former Dodgers pitcher and broadcaster Fernando Valenzuela passed away at the age of 63. Fernando Mania, as he was known, came into baseball in the 80s as a 20-year-old rookie sensation, starting 8-0 and having a .50 ERA, winning both the NL Rookie of the Year and the Cy Young that year. Venezuela pitched for 17 major league seasons, was a 6-time All-Star, and had the most wins and strikeouts of any Mexican-born pitcher. He also spent 22 years as a Spanish-language broadcaster for the Dodgers. His number 34 was retired by the organization in 2003. Just a little tidbit. They did a really good 30 for 30 on him. I had no idea who he was. Obviously, a little bit before my time in the 80s, a little bit into the 90s. But Dodgers legend passed away. It didn't say what he passed. I didn't do a whole lot of research, but the article I read didn't say what he passed away from. But 63 is really young.
Yeah.
Passing away. Okay. Yankees, Dodgers. Garrett Cole will get the start for the Yankees, facing Jack Flaherty for the Dodgers. Of course, a lot of people hate this matchup. This is truly a heavyweight matchup if there ever was one. The 2 biggest MLB franchises, the 2 biggest media markets, 2 of the most hated teams in all of sport, baseball, and the top 2 teams in each league. This is a star-studded series. First time since 1976 that 2 MVPs and the top 2 AL and NL winning teams will face off in the World Series.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's crazy. These guys have a lot of it is. They have a lot of history, though. I mean, playing each other in the World Series. I mean, first time was 41. played again 5 times.
The most common playoff matchup in history.
Yeah, dude.
And,
Yeah, 5.
No, go ahead. Finish your point.
Oh, well, I was just going to read the thing about
Yeah, go
all
ahead.
the times that they've met in the World Series. So first time was 41, and then they played 5 of them against each other from 49 to 56, right? Including back-to-backs in 52 and 53. All right, and then they also faced each other in 1977 and 1978. The Yankees have won 8 of the previous 11 matchups, with the Dodgers victories coming in 55, 63, and 81. And the last time the two teams faced each other for the title, the Dodgers won it. So Yankees won 6 of 7 when the Dodgers were still based in Brooklyn, but since the Dodgers moved west, they're even at 2 apiece. So little history there.
Yeah, and I'm the first one to knock the Yankees. Like, 27 World Series, but you won a lot of them when there were like 8 teams in the league or whatever. I don't know if there were only 8 teams, but they were always facing the New York Giants and then the Brooklyn Dodgers. You know, those were the good teams back then. These 2 historic franchises. This is exactly what MLB wanted. Regardless if you like the teams or not, if you're a baseball fan, you're going to watch them. I'm going to watch these. I don't particularly hate either. I mean, I'm not a fan of either, either franchise. I did hate the Yankees a lot more until the Rangers finally beat them in the playoffs for the World Series in 2010. So it's kind of less villainous as they are.
Kind of like the Heat with the Mavericks.
Exactly. The Mavericks finally, So I'm kind of excited. It's, I think, is it the World Series that gets still on Fox? I think
it's on Fox,
I think they're gonna overdo it. It's just gonna throw in our face how historic this is. But you have a lot of Hall of Famers. It's at least 6 future Hall of Famers, if not more. Shohei Ohtani starting to get things rolling. He had a slow start to the playoffs. He has 6 hits in his last 4 games, including 2 home runs. Aaron Judge trying to get on a streak as well. Not a whole lot of power. He didn't have a lot of home runs this season. Let's see. Juan Soto. He looked good in the clinching game over the Guardians where he had 3 hits, and he's also homered in his last 2 games. And Mookie Betts definitely needs to get off to a good start in this series. He's on a 4-game hit streak, including a 4-hit game in Game 4 of the NLCS. So a lot of star power. I think everybody, even if you don't like these teams, I think deep down you want this to be a 6-7 game series because I think setting up for an all-time historic series. And you want Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and Shohei Ohtani to have really good historic moments. You don't want them to struggle. You don't want these games to be blowouts. Honestly, baseball hasn't had one of these much. I'm a Rangers fan, but Rangers Diamondbacks just doesn't do it for you unless you're a Rangers or Diamondbacks fan. I mean, like I said, I don't like these teams at all, but I'm going to watch every single game.
Yeah, it's like one of those games you play on MLB The Show. It's like
this is the matchup you want.
Yeah, just like
or like when you get a Madden franchise and you do the redraft and now you just are loaded with studs for no reason.
Yeah. It's just one of those games, and it's I went to the Yankees Rangers game, and Yankees fans took completely over Globe Life, and I didn't realize how many Yankees fans there were because I've only been to like probably one other Yankees Rangers game, and this was whenever they had A-Rod, but. Yeah, this the 2 biggest, most popular franchises in the league. I honestly can't wait because honestly, they it's probably the battle of the 2 best players in the league. Excluding Bobby Witt. But yeah, this is just one of those, I guess, dream matchups. Like I hate both teams, but it's almost like watching the Celtics and the Lakers. It's like one of those things. So, I can't wait. I just want to I want it to be kind of like a high scoring, but it's probably not going to be that. But I can't wait.
Yeah.
Hey, so here's a question, boys. Without looking, what do you think? What's the over/under on how much the least expensive ticket to game one is? What's your over-under, Chris?
The game one.
Over-under? You mean, all right, so like a cheap seat, like a nosebleed.
Yeah, dude, like the least expensive ticket that you could get. What do you think it costs?
I'm going to go like $850 and $900.
Oh,
okay.
Wow. I was going to go 500.
What about you?
500.
So per CBS News, as of Monday, the least expensive ticket that they could find was about $2,000 for seats in the upper deck and right field, to over $37,000 to sit right behind home plate before taxes and fees.
$7,000. So we have got, I mean, the people sitting right behind home plate, we have to know who they are probably. Just because they have to be so rich to.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. And, you know, that could be kind of planned out too. I mean, right. Think about, you're in New York City. You've got like one of the biggest franchises, so much money involved. You're going to want celebrities on the TV when you're, throwing the ball or when they're showing that behind the game.
The game's in Los Angeles. They're going to pan the crowd and find LeBron James is going to be on one of the games. Same with New York. You're going to have all the star,
that sucks though. Cause like, you really want the home field advantage. And it's like, no, they're not.
How are you getting the true fans?
Yeah, it's like, I feel like the games at Texas Stadium were way rowdier than the Cowboys AT&T Stadium, excuse me. So it's like, when you hike up those prices, you take that whole, like those true rabid fans, that have the man caves with all the jerseys and like, you wipe them out, and now you just, these higher class people that are, going there just for the look, as opposed to like really being rowdy and really like, this is my die-hard team. I'll do, like, I'll stand in the cold. I'll be in the snow for this team. Like,
that's what I thought. If I came into a lot of money, I would take, buy some of those tickets to the Cowboys game, and just go find people in the upper decks and just say, hey, here's your, because it gets crazy in the upper decks.
It does.
When you're only paying $150 for a ticket. Say that sarcastically. It gets really rowdy up there. I've been to a game up there, and you have to walk down the whole thing at the end of the game, and that's a fun walk after the Cowboys win. Really crazy, but just move them all down. It's hard to. I mean, World Series tickets in general are going to be expensive.
Yeah, true.
Even when it was Rangers and Diamondbacks, more attainable than this.
But 37,000, man. That's just like.
Yeah, I mean. Just stay home and watch. This is I fully expect this to be the most watched World Series in a long time, if not ever. At least for now, because it's on a local channel. Of course, 5 years they might have it exclusively on
ESPN or something.
Crap like that.
Yeah. Just like imagine those the Cowboys, those standing room only people that run to their spot every day. Now imagine them first, second, third row. Like, it just feels different. So,
guys, I have a correction, an update. So that I was incorrect. It's not the least expensive ticket that you can get. It's $2,000. That's the least expensive seat. They're running a package that if you pay $1,000, you get one beer in a standing room only section.
Okay, at least you get that beer. I mean, that beer is probably $12 in Los Angeles, or maybe $20. It's in the building. $1,000. I mean, it's just $1,000. Go ahead and cash out that 401k. You never know. Dodgers may go another 40 years without going to the World Series, unless you want to count the bubble 2020.
They did win in 2020, huh?
Here at Ranger Stadium. Quite interesting that the last two major Los Angeles sports championships were in the bubbles. I'm not one of to say it's fake. It doesn't count. It counts, but I mean, still,
And there's something to be said about it. That's for sure.
I actually just had an argument about this like 2 days ago, and I'm like, it's almost like playing in a wreck, and like you go into the wreck because that means like. Because you have no fans, like talking trash to you, and it's like all the stars, not stars rather, but like Who is it that T.J. Warren was averaging like 40 a game in the bubble? So it's kind of like, okay,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So but to each his own, man. Salute to Los Angeles, making it to the championship again. Whatever.
Shout out to Jonathan Mathis, aka the Sports Judge. He big in social media, has a YouTube page called the Sports Judge. Real big into the Dodgers. Trying to get him on the show. Schedules didn't quite mesh up, but he did tell me that he is taking the Dodgers in 7. Mainly, the key is their bullpen. That's what's going to get it done from the unsung heroes of this star-studded World Series. He thinks is going to be the bullpen, and he thinks this series goes 7 games. That'd be historic. But shout out Jonathan. Thanks for the effort. Jonathan Mathis, the Sports Judge. We've been trying to collaborate for when the Mavs were in the NBA Finals. He was trying to get me on his show. Our schedules just haven't meshed up. Eventually, we're gonna be able to collaborate. Sports Judge, PeakOneSports. But shout out to him. All right. Before we get to the Mavericks, you can say goodbye to unruly behavior and hello to a well-mannered pup. The Dapper Dog Academy. Thank you, Ross. You're just right.
Yes,
there.
sir.
And call you Producer Ross tonight.
I'm trying, man. I'm learning.
The Dapper Dog Academy stands out as a top-notch canine training institute located in Cleburne and serving the DFW Metroplex. Contact Korri and the Dapper Dog Academy on Facebook or call and schedule a consultation today. All the info is in the description box below, as well as all of our other sponsors. All right, guys. Most of the NBA in action tonight. Yesterday, we had Celtics-Knicks tip-off regular season. The Lakers and T-Wolves played with Bronny James getting a couple of minutes. LeBron and Bronny becoming the first ever father-son duo to share an NBA court in a regular season game. Any thoughts on that, guys? I'm going to call BS on that.
I think it's cool history, man. I mean, and as a dad, right? I mean, I'm sure any dad out there could appreciate, I mean, your son coming in to do what you do and kind of that legacy idea. I think what's making it, kind of the joke is that it doesn't seem like, if his dad wasn't LeBron, he might not have been drafted or,
for sure. I mean, LeBron strong-armed his way. It's fine. I feel bad for Bronny. I don't hate Bronny anyway that he's in this situation. I don't think
he can't.
Go ahead. He can't play.
You can't really blame him because I mean, you're born into your dad being LeBron James, so it's kind of
I think he would have eventually been drafted, probably. Give him a few years, but he just wasn't ready. But LeBron wanted that moment, and he strong-armed his way into making this happen. But, I mean, it is what it is. It happened. I mean, Bronny's good enough to, I guess, be in the NBA. It's, I don't think he should have been drafted, at least not this year. Like I said, give a couple of years. He's not the worst player in the NBA. I don't think. I mean, I guess I'm not that in tune with the NBA to be able to, we have list off 10 players worse than Bronny James, but
Dwight Powell. Oh, yeah. Sorry. My bad. I didn't mean to say that.
Dwight Powell's a great guy too.
He's a great guy, though.
Yeah, if it wasn't for his contract and just being the main center for the Dallas Mavericks for so many years, like he works as your third center. But when you're the starting center for most of the season and the playoffs come around and you don't really play at all, it says a lot. Shout out to Dwight Powell.
Shout out to Dwight Powell, yeah. I like Bronny, though. I think he's really skilled. He can what I think they're going to try to make him, because he's undersized. He's like 6'2", 6'3". But I think he had, his upside, I think, is probably like a Drew Holiday, just a great defender, can knock down shots. I think that's his peak. I feel like I don't really foresee him being, a superstar like LeBron James level by any means. I'm not saying that he can't, because there are a lot of stars that just came out of nowhere and became a superstar. But you know, he can shoot the ball really well. You know, he's a great defender. He's probably one of the more athletic guards in the league, as far as like, you know, just getting up and dunking the ball, being explosive. So I just think it was just like, you know, you average 4 points in college, like you're not getting opening night minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's LeBron James.
Oh, yeah.
It's, you know, LeBron James Jr. So I don't want to take anything from him. That was, like Ross said, that's just a great moment. It was just one of the, you know, King Griffey and King Griffey Jr. on the sideline watching. Like that was dope. It was an amazing moment.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for Bronny, because of who his dad is, it's going to be, you know, I don't think most people are going to look at his career as positive, no matter what he does, because he almost has to have a Hall of Fame type career to really live up to that name. When in general, you know, he could have a pretty decent career, like you said. If he, you know, you don't look at Drew Holiday and be like, man, what a terrible career. But if his name is some, you know, whatever, I don't know Michael Jordan's kids' names, but if his name is something
Marcus,
Marcus Jordan or something, like, oh man, he kind of disappointed, didn't he? But
and then, you know, something else to consider too is that concept of like, oh, his dad was good, he might be good. So we're seeing it in the NFL right now with Marvin Harrison Jr., right? Yeah. You know, everybody's excited about that genetic talent that might get passed down. So, you know, I'm with Chris, man. Like I said, I just think it's cool, man. And I would do the same thing if I was LeBron. Just to have that, you know, just to have that.
Yeah, exactly.
I would too.
Nepotism never looks like a good idea with somebody else, but when it's your kid, you're for sure go. I mean, I know a lot of people will be like, no, I'm going to make my kid work for it, but you love your kid more than other kids, right? You know,
exactly. Especially in the league too.
Put them in, and not that Bronny hasn't worked his ass off and worked hard. He's probably worked harder at basketball than I've ever worked hard at anything in my life. So it's not like I can say, oh, he doesn't deserve it. Now you can make an argument like, well, that one guy that didn't get drafted, does he deserve it more than Bronny? Whatever. That's an argument you can make.
Yeah. No, yeah. He's a solid player. It's just like I'm a holdout, or like I'm gonna go overseas if I don't play with the Lakers, and it's just, you know, but it's a cool thing, especially like, you know, the Nike commercial that they had. It was like that was funny, like, you know, that was really cool. So you know, I've up and down on LeBron my whole career, as far as like, I love him, then you know, I hated him when he was with the Heat. I always kind of like thought he was kind of I don't know, he's just a little annoying to me, but like, you know, he's obviously one of the 3-4 greatest players ever. So for him to have his son, with him, like that's just, you know, that's amazing.
Yeah, you're a realist. I mean, even though sometimes you don't like him, you're not going to be a troll and do a bit and be like, I have LeBron maybe in the top 10. Like, no, LeBron's one of the best, best ever.
Top 3.
Yeah, at this point, you kind of just have to accept it, right? I'm always going to say Jordan's better.
Me too. His career says so.
I would say Jordan's better too. But the fact that we had that conversation is the fact that is a conversation shows how good LeBron James doesn't suck. And the you know, his off the court stuff and the annoying stuff and the nepotism and stuff. I mean, that's why people don't, you know, kind of, they dislike him a little bit more. But you know, if you don't have haters, you're not doing anything right. You're not doing it right.
I think it's more so his fans that make you hate him, because like they just, you know, like you'll say like, oh, Michael Jordan has more MVPs, more scoring titles, more rings, and they'll be like, but he built a school. And I'm like, I'm talking about on court things. Like I get he's a great philanthropist, great father, great, you know, all those things, but it's like, I'm just talking about on court. You can
think Michael Jordan is the best and not hate him. In the same way, you can think LeBron James is the best, and that doesn't mean you hate Michael Jordan.
Exactly. That's the thing. So it's like, I say he's the second greatest player to ever live, and they're like, oh my God, like, come on. That's a compliment, if anything,
if your first argument is Jordan has the rings, I'm like, well, then, you know, there are other players you can, you know, Jordan.
Jordan doesn't have the most rings ever?
No, what's it from the
Nah, Bill
Celtics?
Russell.
10
Bill
rings.
Russell.
Oh, okay.
11. He got 11. Yeah.
Or
Who?
11 rings. Yeah, 11
Bill
rings.
Russell.
Wow,
But Jordan,
that's nuts.
But
Yeah,
Bill
but
Russell's not
Jordan-
the best ever, but Bill Russell's one of the best ever.
Yeah, he's one of.
Also,
he's top,
like,
yeah. Exactly.
Am I wrong? But when Bill Russell was playing, wasn't it kind of like a little bit of a different style of play in the NBA a little bit? Or am I just.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, it's hard to
was less
compare
teams,
eras.
too. It was
It's
less
very
teams.
You know, I
different.
mean, because I kind of feel like that's like saying, oh, well, technically, you know, like the Cleveland Browns player from like 1930
Jim Brown.
or whatever. Yeah, Jim Brown's
Yeah.
like the best running back
I mean-
ever. It's like, well, yeah, but it's a little different.
I mean, players are way more athletic than they used to be, but that comes from, you know, if you put Jordan in today's era where he goes to, you know, travel ball and, you know, he gets private, you know, whatever, that then you can, you know, like obviously that's going to be different. But, you know, it's kind of the same thing last time with the Yankees when it's like they won a lot of World Series when there, you know, was only a few teams. When the Celtics went on that run, winning in the 60s and early 70s, there weren't a lot, you know, there weren't 30 teams in the NBA as well. Not to take anything away from them, but that's one of, you know, that's when you have the Boston Celtics winning so much, the Lakers as well. Like the freaking Lakers won a ton in the 50s and 60s as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, before the last like 15 years, the Lakers, I want to say in a 50-year span, only missed the playoffs like 7 years. And then the last 15 years or so, they've missed it like 9 times, something ridiculous like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's just the thing, like with, you know, just that era. The reason why I have I know this is like we got to get to the Mavs, but like the reason why I have like Michael Jordan up there, like number one, obviously he has more accolades, like as far as, you know, he averages the most points per game ever by anybody. And, you know, 3-peat, take a break, 3-peat, 5 MVPs. But I personally, like, you know, people hold his Wizards days against him. I don't, because he came back and averaged, you know, 20 a game, you know, 39 and 40, you know, fresh out of the owner's box. So it's like, you know, he, you know, because he was great in that era as well. And, you know, you hear people that played against him in the early 2000s, whenever, you know, that was probably the golden age of the NBA. You know, you had everybody.
Yeah.
Kobe was coming into his prime. You had Shaq, you know, Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
Tracy McGrady. So, and he was coming back and, you know, he was older, but he was still averaging 20 a game. And, you know, it's I don't know. It's all relative. I know, you know, LeBron's a great passer and everything. So, you know, to each his own. And that's all I say about it.
The Mavericks do tip off their season tomorrow night at home, hosting Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. A lot of, you know, there's a high bar for the Mavericks this year, you know, coming off Western Conference championship run. And then we'll get to some of the roster upgrades they made. Just I think they're a more
it's huge.
well-off
Big
team.
time. Yeah.
Luka, MVP, what are y'all's thoughts? He's obviously, most outlets have him as the favorite to win, with Joker, the favorite, and other outlets. Is this Luka's year? You know, I think last year it looked like it. I think he should have won last year. I'm not mad that Joker won it. I'm mad that, you know, Luka was third.
Yeah.
And then he went and, you know, destroyed the Thunder. And then you're like, well, Shane Gillis shouldn't have been Alexander shouldn't have been, you know, second. But, you know, I think Joker did have an MVP season last year. But, you know, I think there's something to be said for Luka should have won it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He was clearly the best player in the league. And he won. I mean, he even won best NBA player. He won the ESPY for it. So it's like, you know.
And the ESPY is given after the playoffs.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
MVP is in-season in-season award. You're not allowed to, but I mean, if you include the playoffs, I don't think anyone doubts that Luka should have been MVP.
Yeah.
With
and
the top
even
three being all Western Conference players.
Yeah. Scoring title. I feel like the run that they made to get to that position, because they were struggling for a little bit last year too.
Yeah.
And the run that they made, and I think the 73 points against the Hawks did it for me. Obviously, I'm a Luka fan and I'm a Mavs fan, but just seeing that and how efficient it was, and just his run that he went on, 30-point triple doubles, things like 6 straight games or something like that. So, it was. I don't know, man. It was. I like Jokic. He's a great player, one of the best in the league. But, as a guard, I feel like it just looks better for me. And just how much Luka does and how much he carries. He averages, 30-something, 9 and 9. Or, so it's kind of, I don't know. I don't know what they're really looking for, but I think this is his year. I think it's his turn, actually. Because, it was Embiid's turn. It was Jokic's turn. So I think it's Luka's turn now.
Yeah, and that's a little why I'm surprised that Joker won it last year is he had just came off of winning it 3 times in a row, But yeah, last year the Mavericks, I think people were saying 5th, 6th best, 6th seed at best. Obviously, they have terrible defense. Make a couple of roster moves at the trade deadline. All of a sudden, I want to say the last 15 games or so, they had probably the best defense in the league, and that's obviously something Luka doesn't really play defense at, but a lot of roster upgrades. Obviously, Klay Thompson, adding him. Injury concern, obviously there. He's older, but with the way Luka plays, just sit him out there on the 3-pointer,
perfect
on the 3-point line. Just let him get it there. Luka can help his. To me, it's like an upgrade at 3-point shooting over Tim Hardaway Jr., but he has the consistency. Parting ways with Tim Hardaway Jr., I think, was a really good move because THJ might go for 30 points, but he's also going to go 6-7 games in a row scoring less than 10. It's not consistent. So I think it's a more consistent version. More consistent version of Tim Hardaway Jr. Plus, you get a little defense from Klay Thompson. That's obviously something that helps the Mavericks. Quentin Grimes, a good 3-and-D player. Same deal. It's like, really, when you have Luka, when you have Klay Thompson, when you have the roster you put together, Kyrie Irving, just get 3-and-D guys. That's all you need. You just need guys to stand because you're going to have, outside of injury, you're going to have Klay Thompson, Luka, or Kyrie in the game at all times.
Yeah. Well, they're saying that. I mean, the starting 5, is probably going to be Luka, Kyrie, like you said, Thompson, PJ Washington. Yeah, then maybe Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford. Yeah. And they're saying that's one of the most talented as far as the starting 5. I think the big thing's for the Mavericks is going to be making sure he doesn't have to ride him so hard. Yeah. Excuse me. But I'm nervous about, like what you were saying, Ashton, about some of the upgrades. We talked about some of the upgrades to the Mavericks. I'm excited. We were going to talk about some of the upgrades that the Spurs made, and one of them you got to kind of wonder about is Harrison Barnes. He's a former Maverick. Hey, doing good. Sorry. One of them to kind of worry about, I guess, might be Harrison Barnes. I mean, he's pretty decent, but also he's a former Maverick, and so I wonder if there's going to be any of that. It's like football, right? Like when you trade the player, but then Chris Paul, they brought Chris Paul in, and to try to help out Wembanyama.
I think the team is way different than when Harrison Barnes was there. Yeah, and I think Luka is just. Yeah, I think Luka is just he plays the game at his own pace, and I feel like I do believe he's the best player in the league. I understand Chris Paul he's a veteran, and he'll be throwing lobs to Victor, and Harrison Barnes is a solid role player, but he was with the Kings, and the Mavs were still beating them, and I just think this team is kind of built perfectly, honestly, for Luka, as opposed to just taking out Derrick Jones and putting in Klay. I think
I think past seasons this has been a very top heavy team.
Mhm.
Not that they're not pretty top heavy now, but they, Luka and Kyrie or whoever they try to bring in, you throw Klay Thompson in there if you still believe he's a superstar. But less of role players. And now, like a lot of the guys we've already mentioned, I'll throw in Najee Marshall. He's a good spark plug for that team. Spencer Dinwiddie. I think there's a lot of those role players that are really going to help out. Any thoughts before we go? I like to keep a tight schedule.
Yeah.
Any predictions you want to throw out? Anything else you want to say about the Mavericks?
I think they'll go to Western Conference Finals this year. I'm gonna just leave it at that. I think they'll get there, and then whatever happens there happens. But looking at Minnesota and how I think they regressed a lot.
I do too.
Yeah. So the Thunder, I feel like they're better than the Thunder still. So we'll see. The Lakers look.
What are your thoughts on the Nuggets?
I think the Nuggets are still number one in the West right now. I think they're the best team in the West. Yeah. Even if they finish like last year, they finished third seed, second seed, whatever. I still think that's the team you don't want to play. You want to try to avoid like you did last year. Like I'm not worried about I'm not worried about Minnesota. Not really worried about Oklahoma City, although they've gotten a little bit better. Memphis, I don't know. Maybe they jump back into it.
The Lakers are good.
The Lakers. If Anthony Davis can stay healthy, I think the Lakers are really good.
Yeah, so we'll see.
All right, guys. Well, thank you to everybody watching this episode of the Sports Page. Hopefully, Dan can be back pretty soon. However, you're listening, YouTube, on the Coach's Box, on Facebook, or later on Facebook platform. Thank you for listening and supporting our network. Be sure, let's see what else we got. We got hockey podcast, Shut the Puck Up, might be on. I know Kenny's dealing with some stuff that might be on tomorrow. We have the leadoff Saturday, and then Tuesday, Roscoe Fantasy Football Show with Ross Bates right there. And we have Friday Night Football this week.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a good one this week.
At Eagle Mountain High School, they're facing the Bridgeport Bulls. So check us out for some Texas high school football on Friday night. So then, guys, pleasure talking to everybody being back on. It was fun. It's been a while since
as always. Yeah, man.
Great seeing you guys.
All right, guys. See y'all later.
All right,
we'll see you
guys.